Hello, hello. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Whitney Bateson, and today we are going to be talking about what is shifting right now when it comes to selling health and wellness and nutrition services, group programs, courses, and what that means for you as a business owner. And even looking into 2026, what are some of the changes that are happening with consumers and how they're evaluating businesses and what they're buying and what they're choosing not to buy, and just even acknowledge maybe some of the things that are going on so that you can feel like, okay, it's not you. there's there's actually some changes happening. So yeah, that is the first thing that I want to go into. Oh, but before that, I do want to let you know, and I'm going to share a little bit more at the end. I have a brand new training coming up that is actually going to directly address one of the things that I bring up in today's episode. So if you're interested in diving in more deeply with me, it's a free training. It's brand new. I'm very excited about it. I really go in depth in a lot of different things. I'm going to give you more details at the end. So make sure you stick around for that. Okay. So first, yeah, just acknowledging that things are shifting. There is a lot going on in the world and in online business and just on the internet in general, right? With AI and all these different tools that are making it easier and easier for everyone, every business, every person who has something to say to get online. The barrier to entry is a lot lower now for a lot of different things. So there's a lot of potential noise happening. There's a lot of great things being posted and launched online, but there's also a lot of other stuff in general. So it's just getting, more and more crowded. That's going to continue to happen. And it just means that we need to be shifting. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we should stop or that we shouldn't start our businesses. If you're considering starting a business, maybe you're thinking, oh, is this a sign that I shouldn't be starting? Absolutely not. And if you are currently running your business and things are tough, and you're hearing me say, well, there's a lot of other competition out there, I'm not saying that you should stop by any means. What this really just means is that you just need to be aware of the landscape and what's changing and how you can adapt to that. And that's business. There's always change happening. This time is no different than any other time in recent or far history. When new things come out, businesses need to adapt and change. And that's just something that we need to do as well as business owners. So the first thing that I want to bring up that's shifting and that could be impacting your sales or just your reach and how things are going for your business right now is that people are generally more disconnected than ever. It's funny because even though the internet and all of these different softwares and platforms have allowed us to connect, also, I mean, I don't know about you, there's like even the new Chat GPT version came out to try and prevent people from relying so much on Chat GPT as like a therapist or as a relationship. There's a lot of reliance on some of these more disconnected technologies that are giving that false sense of connection that's really not there. And so I think a lot of people are actually craving to go back to the roots. I know for myself, I definitely want to talk to people in real life. I want to have conversations with people. I don't want to be seeing people's photos on Instagram. I want to talk to my friend and I want to hear what's going on in their lives. And so when it comes to business, there are our customers, they're looking for authenticity. They're looking for real connection and a true person behind the scenes, and how they can really actually get back to that foundation of connection. So this goes into maybe the strategy of what you're selling. So how can you bring more of that interpersonal connection into what you're selling? If you're selling one-to-one services, that's great. People are going to be able to connect with you. They're not having to go through some program all by themselves without any support and no connection to you. But if you are doing a group program or you're selling a course, maybe there are some ways that you can just add in a little bit more of that personal touch and personal touch points. It doesn't mean you have to meet with everyone, but just be thinking about how you can be bringing that into what you're offering. And then when you're selling, definitely be pulling in how can you make it more personalized? How can you maybe do some fun pop-up live events for your community and your audience, people who haven't bought from you yet, or maybe current clients or past clients who maybe you want to remind them that, hey, you're still available. You heard me talk with a vet a couple weeks ago on the podcast about client retention, and that people go to the dentist multiple times a year. They should go every 6 months. So how can you be re-engaging your clients and doing it in a more personal way? Email obviously is very scalable. It's still my preferred marketing method as opposed to other social media platforms. But even in email, you can be pulling in more of your personality. And I'll actually give some tactical, practical tips at the end about how to implement some of these things. So, not going to spoiler alert it just yet, but see how and be thinking about, okay, there's a lot of disconnect. There's people kind of feeling like they're being lost behind the technology, behind the screen. How can you be pulling those people into conversations with you? How can you be pushing yourself out a little bit more into your personality? And I'm not saying that you need to be like going live and doing reels and showing your face on video. You can if you want, but it can be more holistic than that. Think beyond social media, because I think social media is one of the problems. Okay, so that is the first piece, is that people are more disconnected than ever, and we need to be really showing up and showing that we are ready to connect with people and be that real life supporter of them, that they don't have to feel like they're just going to be another cog in the wheel. Secondly, people are flooded with information. At this point, people do not need to be paying for just information. Even if the information online is not very good or it's not evidence-based, I'm sure you have experienced using ChatGPT or one of those other AI platforms and asking a question that wasn't accurate, or seeing people share things that weren't accurate. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the nature of it. People are going to be getting information from these platforms. And so there's really a very small likelihood that people are going to want to just pay for just straight up information. So what do they want to pay for instead? They want to pay for change. They want to pay for transformation. They want to pay for a real solution to their problem. And they don't have a lot of time to spend. They don't want to be spending months and months or having to watch a lot of videos or read a whole bunch of stuff. It needs to be as efficient as possible. So think through how you can help people get a tangible result. What is the simplest way to get to that result? Now, if you are helping people with a fertility struggle, or they have some gut health issues, maybe they are dealing with a flare up of something, or basically what I'm saying is that if you're helping people with something that may take a while to get them fully there, you don't have to promise that you're going to get them this result in 6 weeks or 4 weeks. But what are those things that can be like those stepping stones and those little progress indicators that can just show that there are ways to actually feel better and have some mini transformations along the way and help them get to that? You can even be helping them get to some of those mini transformations in some of the content that you put out, a lead magnet, for example, or your social posts or even emails. How can you be helping people with that? That's going to be a lot more effective in terms of getting people to trust you and pay attention to what you're saying, and really think hard about, maybe I do want to work with him or her, rather than just putting out information. Because again, information is just very prevalent at this point. That's not where the value is. The value is how you can help people really get to the root of their problem. So just be thinking about how you can also remove the fluff of whatever it is you are offering. People are just not wanting to spend hours and hours, like I said, reading through stuff. Okay, third, there is a serious lack of trust out there. There is a lot of information out there. I don't know how many people, been joking with a few people lately about TikTok. I go on TikTok just for entertainment purposes, and the bunnies on the trampoline at night. If you know what I'm talking about, it was totally AI. I totally did not think it was AI. A lot of people, millions of people, did not think it was AI, but it was. So there's a lot of AI generated content out there. There's a lot of, like I said earlier, the barrier to entry for anyone who has any idea for any business or any piece of information. They can just post it online, whether it is factual or true or not. And therefore, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, paying money to people who are not genuinely helping that person actually achieve the result they're saying they're going to help them with. And therefore, there's just a lot of distrust out there, and people are very nervous to spend their money and put their trust in someone. And yeah, there's just a legitimacy issue. So, what we really need to do is show that there is a real person behind your business and behind your solution who cares and understands. And building trust, building that understanding that people will have of you, and know that you're a real person and that you actually care and have the expertise to back up everything that you're talking about, that takes time to build trust. And it really takes intention. It is not something that just happens by you just posting a bunch of content. There are ways that you can build trust, but it kind of forms in a specific way. So as a business owner, the best way that you can build trust at scale is through your website. Okay. And I say at scale because, yeah, you could have one-on-one conversations with a bunch of different people so that they actually know you're a real person, and you can really get them to know that you're empathetic, you understand their problems, you can talk through exactly how you help. You can really give the whole background of your business and your expertise. You can listen to them, make them feel heard, answer their questions, all of that. That's great if you have a bunch of time, but none of us have a bunch of time. And so to do that at scale, instead, you need to have a website. So a website is going to build trust in a few ways for a business. It's going to show that we're legit, which is critical. So I've been talking with different people and I've heard this before, and this is true for myself. I really don't put a lot of trust in a business that doesn't have a website. If I'm shopping, even, I travel, so I always have a different dentist. I'm never the same dentist. If I'm looking for a dentist online and in their Google listing and there's no website for me to go to, I'm definitely going to another dentist. And the same goes for lots of different services that I might be looking for. So first and foremost, a website is showing that you're legitimate. People will just not hire businesses and put their trust in businesses that do not have a website, especially when it comes to something as sensitive and important as our health. All right. So that's number one. And then the website itself, once you have it, the content on it is going to show the full picture of you and your business and what you offer and how you can help in a very clear and organized way. There is no other vehicle that exists online that does that. And you can challenge me on that, but there's just not. Nothing is going to do that. A directory listing is going to just be like a long list. Potentially, you're going to give your bio, maybe you're going to list off your services, but that is not giving the full picture of who you are. A brand and a business and a perception of you is not formed just by words. It's not formed just by images. It's a combination. It's the design, it's the visuals, and then it's the content. It's the experience of even moving through your website. And is it organized? And is it clear? All of those things are sending signals to people that you've got your ish together. And that's what a website does. So your website is the only thing that is going to build trust like that and give that full picture, which is what people need before they move forward, especially if we are wanting to charge our worth and maybe put together packages that are a little bit more expensive and extensive because we know I can't fix your problem in 3 sessions. I need 3 months working with you, or I need to sell you this program that is something I've spent years developing, and I'm going to charge appropriately for that. And you know it works, but you need to actually show people the background about why you're saying this is the right solution for them. So you need to be able to put that all out there, and that goes on your website. And the other thing about your website is that it's your platform. You are not putting out content in there on your website that is to appease some algorithm god or a content length or anything. It's not some catchy reel. It's not some short caption that's optimized with hashtags and all of that. Your website is your words. It's your personality. It's your tone. It's your voice. It's everything that you want to say in the way that you want to say it. There is no other external force that is making you put things on your website that you don't want to put on there. And that's really powerful. Your website becomes truly this thing that is yours. And that way, when people interact with it, they are interacting with you 100%. Whereas on all the other platforms that you might be online, Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're in some health directory, Health Profs or Psychology Today, all of that, you are abiding by the restrictions of whoever put together that platform. You are a guest in their house. Whereas when you invite people to your website, they are a guest in your house. It is your house. You call the shots. They get a very real picture of who you are as a business owner. So your website really is that place. And it really sends signals to your customers of how working with you is going to be. Like I mentioned, if it's really well organized, if it's clear, if it's professional, if we have the systems in it to make it easy for people to move forward, and it's a great customer experience before they even become a paying customer, then that is going to show and speak volumes about what it is like to work with you. So you can indicate through just how your website is built and set up how the experience of working with you is going to be. So again, all of this can be done really well on your website, and it's going to give people that really great feeling of moving forward to work with you. And then it's also a place, of course, to show proof, have testimonials, have your educational background, your expertise, your credentials listed on your about page, a little bit of background about you. It's just a very organized way to get all of that information. If you wanted to try and find all that information on the internet, you'd have to, without a website, you'd have to go in all these different places. But it's like, okay, homepage, I'm going to see this information. I'll go to the about, I'll learn a little bit more. I'll get the background. What's their credentials? Oh, here are some interesting facts about them. Oh, I do have some questions. Their blog is answering the top questions I had. They already thought of what I was asking. Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh, they have a really great, easy way for me to book a call. So all of those things are going to build that trust that we need. And there's just so many websites out there that don't have those pieces in it. So just by doing that, you're already light years ahead. But just to underscore that trust is something that is becoming in short supply because of the changing online landscape. And so therefore we need to work harder to get that trust. But I don't mean like harder in a struggling kind of way. We just need to pay attention to what we're doing and be intentional about it. And it's not hard. It just takes intention. And then once we have that in place, that can make it a lot easier to build that trust and stand out from the crowd and really stand out as a really thoughtful, empathetic provider that people can rely on, which is who you are. But if you are not communicating that with your online presence, even if you are the most wonderful person to solve their problem, if your website's not showing that, if your online presence isn't showing that, then people are just going to think that you're like everyone else. Maybe they're going to think you're like one of these hacks that came online and, just had ChatGPT generate their entire website and their business plan and their lead magnet and put it all out there, and they actually don't know what they're talking about. So we don't want that. We want to show that there's a real person. And then the final thing that I want to say is how we communicate to our customers and with our customers also really needs to be reconsidered and just more intention put behind it as well. So thinking about specificity over conciseness or concision. I'm not even sure if concision is a word, but it sounds like a cool word. So we don't want to be focusing on how can we make it the most polished, short, concise sentence ever. We want to actually be specific. And sometimes that takes more words and it takes more work to figure that out. So we want to be getting specific about our customers and then using their language and explaining things in their words. And usually the way they say things is going to be longer and less jargony than the way we would say things. And it's really going to go a lot further with people by using those specifics and using their language and maybe talking about a specific anecdote or situation that a person might have and like literally just saying like, your ideal client, what their morning is like and actually talking that out and saying, whatever, describing their morning or describing a challenge that they're having at work or a challenge they're having at home or, a feeling that they have before going to bed or when they wake up, and actually describing that and then tying that back into what you offer or your solution or a little shift that they can make in their mind about that. But by you actually describing it in vivid detail, they are going to just remember that a whole lot more and be like, oh, this is a real person writing this. And this is so specific. Yes, this person gets me. And that is going to build that trust a lot faster rather than doing some kind of polished but really vague soundbite that sounds good. So this is actually talking about specifics and getting our customers' language. And this is all messaging and how are we messaging to our audience and in our marketing and our sales materials and all of that. This is something that we just covered in the workshop that I just wrapped up. And it was a really powerful workshop. I don't know when we'll be offering it again, but if you are interested in getting the replays and going through all this and learning how to improve your messaging and get specific about this, then just go to whitneybateson.com/workshop and you can get on the wait list and that will let us know that you're interested. And then as soon as we have something to give you as an update about the workshop that just wrapped, we'll send it to you. So yeah, I would just say it's really important to spend time on your messaging specifically. So that goes into the copy that's going to be on your website, but then also what you're putting in emails and all of that. Okay, now I just want to sum things up one more time and give you some action items, some things that you might want to consider doing and looking at in your own business. So just to recap, yes, things are changing, but it just means that we need to adapt and change as well. That's all it means. It's okay. We just need to think about things a little bit differently, double down on some things, and make sure that the things that we are doing are aligned to maybe some of these new ways of thinking. First, see how you can bring more of yourself and that personal connection into your marketing efforts and into your actual offers and services. So I'm trying to actually put more video into my content and into my emails. And also maybe I'll highlight a little bit more about how our website program includes live support and a community. And just again, kind of like what are those things that foster community and personal connection in what I am already offering? And how can I be more personal and connect more through the marketing to show that yeah, that is something that you get with me. I mean, in my program, you're going to hear me talk and speak, and you're going to get on calls with me. And so I, in my marketing, want people to kind of get a sense of that before they even decide to become a customer. So see how you can just kind of bring more of your personality and more of you into any kind of activities that you're doing. And then people want transformation, right? Not information. They can get information anywhere. It's okay to still inform, but you need to, if you want your message to really land and have people paying attention and feeling like they're ready to work with you, then you also need to be including some more transformational stuff and offering that. So think about how your marketing content can be more action oriented. How can your offers or services convey the result and that it's going to be achieved faster, and why your offer is different, and how quick and easy it is to implement, and simplify. So more is not always more. People are not going to be impressed that you have 40 plus videos for them to watch. They're going to be impressed that in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, they are going to start seeing XYZ result. That's what they want. That's what they're excited about. So focusing on that. And like I had mentioned before, in your marketing content, how can you be giving people some little quick wins and little transformations that can then lead them to feeling ready to work with you on maybe some bigger transformations that obviously would take more coaching and more time and more support from you, from a professional. And then see how you can infuse more specific experiences from your clients into your messaging. So how can you describe a pain point using a specific lived experience of your customers? Also, how can your service descriptions call out a more specific goal? So when you are writing copy on your website, instead of just saying what might be the term everyone uses to describe the goal that your customers are after, see if you can kind of make it a little bit more of a specific example of their life experience of trying to achieve that goal. So instead of just, getting your picky eaters to eat, maybe it's, never have to make 3 meals again, that kind of thing, like just specifics versus those general terms. And then finally, you need a website, and it needs to be good. It can't be just a ho-hum generic templated website that you just threw some content into 2 years ago and it's not doing anything for you because it's not very good. So you need a website because you need to build trust, and you're going to do that through your website. And just unfortunately, a lot of those websites out there are just sitting there like business cards, and they're not acting as these trust building extensions of you and your business. So if you want to figure that part out, I have a class coming up for that. And it's coming up, actually, I'm talking about it a little earlier than I typically do, but I'm that excited about it. And if you want to put it on your calendar now so that you have the time reserved, then I want to give you the opportunity to do that. So the class is called Have More Clients Saying Yes to Working with You. And I'm going to be covering the 3 shifts that you need to be making on your website to turn more of your website visitors into paying clients. So this is a new training that I'm really excited about. And I will be diving into those things on your site that are not helping to build trust, and how to really turn them around and make it's so much easier and faster for people to trust you, because we need it to be fast. We can't wait forever for people to come around and eventually decide that you are the right choice. We need to have our website be building that trust from the very first time they land on it. People decide if they want to stay on a website in like half a second. And then if they are searching around and they don't find what they're looking for, they will leave within 5 to 10 seconds. So people are making decisions very quickly. And we really, you spend a lot of time getting people to your site and getting that traffic to your site. And then you're losing them potentially because the site is just not set up to have that engagement with people right off the bat. So that's what we're going to be talking about, plus so much more. It's really, like I said, I'm excited. It's a new training that I put together, and I just really want to give you a lot of concrete examples, specific ideas of what you can be doing to really make your website be working for you so that more people are coming to your site and they are saying yes more easily. I want selling to be easier for you. So that class is going to be happening October 6th and 7th. So you can pick which day you want to come to, and it's free. It's free to sign up. So you can go to whitneybateson.com/yes. So you're going to have more clients saying yes to working with you. So sign up at whitneybateson.com/yes. And I hope to see you in that class. And next week on the podcast, I am going to actually be talking about our website program, the Wellness Pro website system. So on the class, spoiler alert, you will hear me talking about it when you sign up for the class. I will be going through the Wellness Pro website system. But if you have been thinking about a website, maybe you've heard about our program before, maybe not, next episode, I am going to be taking the time to actually explain our process and how we get you to that final result of a great website that is a trust building website. It's an entire system for actually helping you market and sell your business. It is not just a website. There's actually a lot of other things behind the scenes within it. So I'll explain all of that. I'll talk through that and just show you how easy it is to actually move through the program and get to a finished website in 8 weeks or less. So that's how long it's intended to be. We've had clients lately, some of them launching their sites way before that 8-week mark. It's up to you. So I'll talk through all that, give you details next week on the podcast. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great week and thanks for listening.